was a tariff-protected economy. This goes back to Alexander Hamilton, who was the intellectual architect of American capitalism, really. Of all the founding fathers, he was the one economist. He was the guy who said, in an argument with Thomas Jefferson, no, we don't just want to be a country of small farmers forever. We're going to have industry in this country. We're going to have serious financial system. We're going to have manufacturing. Among other things, if we don't, we're not going to be able to win the next war. And one of the founders of Coalition for Prosperous America is a man called Brian O'Shaughnessy, who runs a family business, Revere Copper and Brass, which was originally started with money from the U.S. Congress to make copper sheathing that goes on the bottom of ships. And they did this a couple of years before the War of 1812, and if they hadn't, we might well have lost the War of 1812, because we didn't have, that was an important technology at the time. So anyway, my point was, if anyone wants to tell you that free trade is the American way, that's just not true. Now, as I pointed out, the U.S. is currently not particularly successful in terms of its wages relative to foreign countries. There's not just Japan and Germany, but there's any number of countries which are now paying their manufacturing workers better than we are. And all these countries that are above us, these are countries that are running trade surpluses. So we really have no excuse to be in the pickle that we're in terms of our declining manufacturing base and our overall trade situation. One of the big myths that you need to understand is people will tell you, if you read Wall Street Journal, for example, or Cato Institute, or Heritage Foundation, or any number of the players who speak out on this issue, they will tell you, you have to have free trade because that's the free market, and that's the American way. The reality is, there is no international free market. It simply doesn't exist on this planet. We are competing with foreign nations that manage their trade and manage their economies. Now, I put up these pictures just so you can understand that, yes, there really is a government agency in China that runs their economy. There really is the same thing in Japan. These are not communist countries. They're what we call state capitalist countries. We had a Cold War against communism in the United States, and we won. What we don't understand at this point is that we're in a new economic rivalry with another economic system, which is very different from the kind of free market capitalism that we practice in the United States. This is one of the biggest reasons why it's simply not possible for us to say, okay, the free market is just going to take care of everything for us. Because, for example, one of the things these state capitalist countries do is they manipulate the value of their currency. It's been estimated that China's currency is manipulated by 25–30%. Now, this means that whenever you export goods from China to the United States, they get a 25% boost. And yet when we try to export goods back to there, there's a 25% barrier against us. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. For example, whenever you get inside a lot of these foreign countries, you discover that the distribution system, the wholesalers, the retail stores, they're all in cahoots with domestic manufacturers. For example, in Germany, to take a relatively innocent example, the Chinese and the Japanese are just the most blatant at this. The Europeans do many similar things, but they do it in a more polite way. They're not quite as nasty, but they're playing the same. They're playing the same game. In Germany, you discover that all the retailers, their banks are the same banks as the manufacturers, and if they allowed too many foreign products into their stores, they get a call from their bank saying, "Look, you idiot, if you sell..." This thing is a real problem. It's a free trade microphone. Germany, if you sell these foreigners' products rather than the products made by the guys who we lend money to, then all these manufacturers domestically that we lend money to, they're going to go broke. We're not going to get our money back. So if you ever expect to get trade credit the next time you need it from us, if you know what's good for you, you're going to buy from the guys you're supposed to buy from. And it's more sophisticated than that, but most foreign countries have these kind of inbred networks, and you have these understandings between business, government, trade unions. They're all in cahoots. It's just not open to American companies. So the point, above all, that I would make is Americans need to learn what the reality is in trade internationally. And I don't think at all that the U.S. is going to be able to solve its problems as long as we continue with our naive embrace of free trade, which is what we've been doing. So thank you very much.